Hey again, Cindy. Yeah, so we'll get you make sure she's introduced to everyone.
Yes, definitely.
Because I don't know who all has. Yeah, it looked pretty terrible. The like she had a bad connection or something. So oh.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
Cindy.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Oh, hey, Nathan. I hope everyone's doing well.
So far, so good.
Wonderful.
Can't complain.
Wonderful. Just to let y'all know that we are live streaming right now. Awesome. Hi, Cindy. I'm glad you could join us. Just to let you know, we are live streaming. I think we're expecting one more. Might wait just another minute or two before we get started.
Sounds good.
There we go.
Okay,
Having some technical difficulties.
we understand. Tell you what, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I know we're expecting one more, so we can join in. Maybe something came up. So thank you all for joining us for the Education and Public Programs Committee meeting. I'm Christy Deathridge. I am the Education Manager. And if we could take a moment just so that everyone is introduced, we'll start here and go around the room, and then we'll go to our Zoom people.
I'm Mary Galen. I send all the emails to everyone. That's how you all know me.
I'm Bethany Fisher. I'm the new Museum Experiences Manager. So, hi.
Awesome. And we'll just kind of go based on how we're seeing you on the screen. Tom.
Tom Benzing. I'm a trustee on the board and very interested in educational programs in Waynesboro in particular.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Cindy.
Yes, I'm Cindy Marcus. I am a Senior Assistant Attorney General, and I have the pleasure and honor of being y'all's attorney. And I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to be with y'all. I have several other clients, but y'all are already becoming my favorite.
Thank you. Awesome. And Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan Sanford, also on the Board of Trustees. It's either my 6th or 7th year, and long-term member of the Education Committee.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And I just wanted to mention, Christy, I sent you an email, but I do need to slip off around 3:30, so hopefully that won't be a problem.
No problem. We'll try to make sure that the majority of our meeting is wrapped up by then. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know, Nathan. And then, of course, we have Zach behind the scenes running our meeting. So thank you, Zach, for getting everything straight. But let's jump in. And so this meeting with the Education and Public Programs Committee, we're focusing on April, May, and June information. And so for what our department was covering during that time, which seems so long ago now. We were wrapping up the school year programming and jumping into summer programming. So I wanted to just highlight some of the things. And so I'm going to run through our agenda also with a slide presentation, just so that you're not just staring at us in the conference room. So I can share some of our images. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Maybe. There we go. All right. Hopefully everyone is able to see our slide presentation now. Seeing the agenda. Wonderful. Just want to make sure. So these are just the things that we're going to roll through for our meeting. Just some quick updates at the museum highlights and outreach highlights, and I will explain that in a few minutes. Some of our upcoming projects, some other updates as far as our microscope lab and grants. We also, with our education and public programs committee, we have a subcommittee within our group for exhibits. And so I'm really excited that Bethany can be here with us today to help provide those updates. So I always like to start with some numbers for the quarter. And so when we're looking at April, May, and June, our total programming for the quarter, we had 142 total programs and a little over 2,000 served for the quarter. And so you can see, according to the chart, we break down our programs with outreach, meaning we go out into the schools, different settings to conduct the programs, special school presentations, things of that nature. But then we also have the programming here at the museum. So those are things with school group visits, but also our programming with homeschool families, toddler programs, things like that. We still offer distance learning programming. Of course, you can see years ago, 2 years ago, we were very heavy distance learning programming just because of the situation with COVID. We still offer distance learning programming. It's just not as popular as us traveling to the schools or the sites for programs or the groups coming here. And I do want to mention while I'm going through this, if anyone has any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to jump in. But I also like to just have this comparison with the prior years just to see where we are. It is still kind of hard comparing with COVID numbers. It's, but we are getting close to back on track of pre-COVID numbers. And so I wanted, with mentioning that, to share just our total report. I like to keep track of just a year-end report. So we're looking at the 22-23 numbers. And so for the total 22-23 school year, as we would call it, we had a total of 692 programs in the various categories. With our outreach, you'll notice that I separated out for South Side. That's considered the Martinsville and Henry County, so from here at the museum. But we also have an educator on the Eastern Shore conducting programs, as well as educators in what we tend to call the central area. They are really based Charlottesville area. So I will, when I report on our outreach numbers, that includes all three of those areas. And so with our numbers served, you can see it was over 12,000 throughout that year. And then for comparison, I also threw in the 2021-2022. So you can see the numbers jumped. And then the number served also has jumped considerably, just in the year. So I think we're still on track of increasing, year after year. And so I feel like we're moving in that positive direction, with our programming. And something, looking at our numbers served, our outreach numbers usually tend to be higher, just because going into the school settings sometimes is a little bit easier for the teachers to let us come in and disrupt their class for an hour, versus lining up a field trip. But we are really pushing for groups to visit the museum. The programs are all standard based. The exhibits are even standard based. So we really try to sell that at the museum visit as a true experience of being able to build upon their curriculum that they're already covering in their classroom, and having the museum as an extension of what they are covering. So just to jump into some of our highlights, for that quarter, for our at the museum programs, things that were happening here, we of course had our reptile festival, which was so much fun. We had over 3,000 visitors for that. And so the education department provides crafts and activities, games. The game on the left, we have like a little Plinko game that the kids love to play. But during that time, we were also starting to wrap up our homeschool program. So we have a homeschool science and engineering academy here at the museum, and we're going into our 12th year of the homeschool academy. And we offer programs twice a month for homeschool families, age 6 all the way up through senior year. And so our classes have become very popular. We've also started basically a spin-off program with some of our local private schools in the area. They had heard about the homeschool program. So what we're doing is we're basically mirroring our homeschool programs each month for these private schools. They bring their students. And so they're able to participate in some programming that at their academy may not be able to cover, things such as dissections. We had such a fun time with our frog dissections, but also utilizing things like our microscope lab. And so these programs have really taken off this year, and we're already scheduled for programming in the fall. We're actually having a homeschool open house next week to kind of kick off the school year. We are winding down our summer camps. So for our
Christy,
quarter,
can I-
yes, definitely. Yes,
Can you go back one slide?
definitely.
Um,
One more.
This is just from having spent a lot of time in labs and taking promotional photos, but you need to be really careful about if there's safety glasses being worn, that they get worn over the eyes.
Properly.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
especially when you're showing somebody, interacting with potential hazards. So I just
Gotcha.
be careful about using that image broadly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. I'll make
Yep.
note of that.
Uh-huh.
So during our quarter, April, May, June, we started our summer camps, June. We offered 4 this summer. So actually our last one is running this week, our Extreme STEAM, which is an engineering camp. So we've had a lot of fun. It's gone by quickly. I will report more on our summer camps with our next committee meeting. I did want to mention, since this meeting kind of started the summer camp kickoff, I'll report on all the fun the next one. These are just some of the images from the June camps. So various fun activities. Of course, we include our animals. lots of team building things, and of course, nature, getting those kids outside. And then switching gears to our outreach. So during that quarter, April and May was wrapping up the school year programs. And so we traveled to the schools, bringing the program materials, which includes our live animals. But we can work with the teacher on how many classes they have. We like to keep the programs to the individual class size, so that we really have that hands-on time with each class. And so on a given day, we might be there the entire school day, rotating through their grade level classes, but it really gives them that hands-on time, being able to work just with one single class versus having 60 or 70 students in a program at a time. So we continue our partnership with the Martinsville and Henry County After 3 program, which during the school year is after school. During the summer, they have summer camps too, but for the April and May programming, we did a lot of hands-on activities such as creating filtration systems, trying to filter out particulates for cleaner water. So you can see the one image of trying to come up with various filter materials, which they absolutely loved and got very competitive with seeing who could get the cleanest water. And then the other images was a really fun experiment in which we made edible water bubbles. And so we had a couple of course, edible materials that they concocted, and it created these edible spheres that, if you imagine the consistency of like a almost a Jell-O that hasn't quite solidified, you know, that jello-y texture, but then it had the water inside. So that was a lot of fun working with the students on that. They were either really grossed out or thought it was really cool, but they did a great job with those experiments. It's a lot of fun working with middle school. They are very competitive with their programming.
Christy, if I can ask a couple questions about that after-school program.
Yes.
How are the students selected? Is that by the school district, or do you offer
It
a way for them to enroll?
we really do not have a say in it. It is the MHC After 3 is a program that's actually part of the PNHCC, Patrick and Henry Community College. And so they have a total of 6 sites across the city and county. And so I'm not sure how they go about recruiting their students.
One reason I ask is because it sounds like a similar program in the Waynesboro schools, in the middle school in particular, that's being run by a nonprofit called the On the Road Collaborative, and they do after school programming during the year and then also summer camps. So I'd be interested to see what kind of program you've put together. Maybe that's something we could duplicate in Waynesboro.
Definitely. And we can chat more about that. We are one of the partner organizations for the MHC After 3. So we provide programming throughout the school year, so fall semester, then spring semester, but then we also provide summer camps for that group as well. So we definitely have a lot of material that we can share.
Yeah, let's chat later.
Definitely, that sounds good. So as some of you might recall the microscope lab, and so just to kind of recap, and if you're not familiar, I worked with a couple of our curators here at the museum on an IMLS grant to create a microscopy lab. And so we have 15 student scopes set up in the lab. And so we've been utilizing this since December. And just since December, we've served about 800 students. So we're really excited with the upcoming school year of being able to get more students in using these scopes. We have a variety of programs we can offer. So we have worked with the curators on having programs that also highlight their science areas, their research areas. So it's a kind of a all-encompassing program that the students are able to learn about the museum in general, what goes on, but then also utilize the scopes to learn new skills. Some of them were not familiar with how to use a microscope. So we would work with them on just learning the basics and then actually getting into the program content. So looking forward to getting back with the students in there for the school year. With our programs, no matter if it's an outreach program or at the museum or a virtual program or distance learning, I work with Ryan Barber to secure scholarship opportunities. So we work on grants, securing grants that then in turn the teachers can apply for scholarships. They are very grateful for these scholarships. Our program fees are minimal, but our program fees are used to pay the educator salaries. So we do have to have that cost associated. So the scholarships are a wonderful thing. And so we already have some scholarships lined up for the upcoming school year. So we'll be able to offer those and the teachers be able to take advantage of those. Before I turn it over to Bethany, on our agenda that I had sent out, we have a few upcoming things that I just wanted to mention. Our educators will be attending the VAST conference in the fall. So that's the Virginia Association of Science Teachers. So we're very fortunate to be able to have professional development opportunities here at the museum. So they are very excited. One of them, we have two educators. One of them has attended VAST before, the other one is not. So this will be her first experience going to VAST. So they're very excited about going to that. We have also some upcoming partnership programs with local institutions such as New College Institute. And so I'll be able to report more on that with our next committee meeting. I also wanted to mention something upcoming that we've just started with. Our most recent festival is offering sensory friendly times and activities for those festivals. And so by sensory friendly, meaning that the sound is not as loud, the lights are not as bright. So making it more inviting for families that might have family members that have sensory processing needs. So we just kicked that off with our Dino Festival and thought it went very well. So I did want to mention that and we'll, I'm sure, talk more about that with upcoming meetings. But I just wanted to mention that. But as part of our Education and Public Programs Committee, we have our exhibit subcommittee. So like I mentioned, I'm so excited that Bethany's able to join us today to give some updates. So I'm going to turn it over to Bethany.
All right, thank you, Christy. I just to let you all know, I'm very new to the museum. I just started in March. So April, May, and June were just kind of a very quick introduction for me to the VMNH exhibits, but we were able to put up one new display that's up in our lobby. And I just noticed this photo was taken before the sign panel went up. Yeah. But there's There's now a solar panel display that has one of our inert solar panels, but there's an interactive display above it that shows real-time statistics on the energy being drawn in. And then next to it, not shown in this photo, but next to it is an informational panel describing the solar panel program and where it came from, how many solar panels we have, and it shows a picture of the panel array on the roof. It's that was our newest display. A lot of our efforts in that quarter, April, May, and June, were focused on getting ready for Reptile Festival, which Christy mentioned was a hugely popular event. So as part of our operations, we're getting ready the T-shirt designs and exhibit panels. We had displays set up all over the museum with tables from both some of our partners as well as the various curators had tables set up with informational and educational displays with live animals, even all throughout the museum. So that was a very big event. And it paid off. We had record numbers for our festivals for the last fiscal year, which ended June. So yeah. So yeah, it was very successful festival and great new displays. And then we've also been reordering some of the electronic to update some of our displays in the museum, our permanent displays as well. So,
Awesome, thank you. And I'll stop sharing this, and that way we can have a few minutes to just kind of recap and any questions that may be there, and then also to discuss what our committee would like to report to the full board on Saturday.
Well, just a quick question for Bethany. I see that there's something about Masters of the Night exhibit. I didn't hear anything about that when you were giving your report.
yeah, so that's coming up. At the end of this year and into the next year. We're right now we're working with the team, planning the new what the layout's going to be. And there's going to be a special reception at the we're going to set up an opening event for the Masters of the Night. So that will be for our future updates of what's coming down the line.
So am I guessing right that it's about bats?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry. Yes, it's all about bats. It's a really cool traveling exhibition about bat conservation and how important bats are in the ecosystem. It should be a really fun, compelling exhibit.
Are you aware of the bat detectors that are now available you can put on a smartphone?
No, I have not heard of it.
Yeah, they actually will identify the bat species that are flying overhead. It'll actually receive the calls and it will show you what the call looks like on a audiogram kind of thing, and then it will identify for you what bat species it is. They're very cool.
Okay, so it's kind of the equivalent of what is it, eBird?
Yeah, right.
Bird for bats, though.
Yes. And I think it's might be the same company that produces the sensor. I think they're called like Wildlife Acoustics or something along those lines. I can send you, if you remind me, I can send you a link.
Okay.
My daughter actually has one. I gave it to her as a birthday gift, so you can talk to Jenna about it if you want.
Nice. That's cool.
I'm really looking forward to that exhibit.
Oh,
And of course, we'll already had the conversation going with Dr. Moncrief on what kind of material from the collections will be pulled to kind of accent the exhibit.
Yeah.
But wonderful. Well, and I know Nathan had to step away, but any questions or anything concerning the April, May, June, or anything that we've discussed, really?
I can't remember when you were up to visit in Waynesboro, but I appreciate your coming up there and, bringing a table for the families to see that the museum is actively involved in the community. That might have been, I can't remember. That was in June, wasn't it?
That was June.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems
So yeah.
long ago. But
Yeah. I know. It seems like a while ago, but yeah. I also wanted to say that we've been active with, as you may know, setting up a mentoring program and funding that through the foundation called Youth Mentoring Youth in the Natural Sciences. And we're moving into what we're calling phase 3, where those 4 governor's school students will be working with the middle school students throughout the academic year. So
that's wonderful.
yeah. And then one thing that I think we could include in our exhibit subcommittee, Bethany, is our participation in the design with Riggs Ward of the exhibitry for the Waynesboro campus. You and I both participated in the most recent meeting, which was about geology and geoformation, and we'll be continuing to do that. So I think one of the reasons why I want to participate in this education committee and through the exhibit subcommittee is to keep you involved with that process as well.
Absolutely, and very excited about what the work coming up with Waynesboro, with that exhibit design.
What I think we'll really need, and I'm talking now to Christy, what we'll need some help with is making sure we've got good connections to the standards of learning, and what the teachers need to see in those exhibits. So I'm not hearing that a lot in the room yet, but I hope that that will be part of the discussion too.
Okay. That sounds good. Wonderful. Well, I think that was really all that I had. And like I mentioned, I know Nathan had to step away. And I can touch base with him on what to report on Saturday for the board, for the full board. But I think if anyone doesn't have any questions, we can wrap up.
Can you remind me when the VAST conference is this year?
That is, let me make sure.
It's the same weekend as the November board meeting.
Exactly. That's why I'm not going to VAST. But yeah, so VAST falls November 16th through the 18th. But yeah, so Terry and Jordan are going to that. So yeah. But great. Well, awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for joining, and look forward to seeing y'all on Saturday.
Thank you all. Have a great afternoon.
Sounds good. Bye all.